Oh, I think we're live. Hey, everybody, for the good of all Cree.
For the good of all Cree.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Disney Movie Review. We are back. Look at this, Dan. 2 in a row, too. How about that?
2 in a row? Like, who are we?
3 in a row, though, to be like a streak. So we got to make sure we knock it out of the park next week.
Oh, yeah.
But what's up, buddy? Good to see you.
So good to see you. I'm so excited for this one. I said last week on my channel, I was like, this one, like, because we're both big dog people, we love our pet dogs, and this one really is going to hit home for us. So we've been looking forward to this one, and yeah, very excited to talk about 101 Dalmatians, the original, 1961.
Yes, and that's very, very important. It's 101 Dalmatians, the original, 1961. There's been, Cruella's been redone. 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close was redone in I don't remember what year it was, 2004?
93 or something.
Something, I don't remember. But so there's been a lot of iterations, but we're talking about the original, 1961, 101 Dalmatians. Good to have you here, buddy. This is going to be, I agree, this one's going to be fun. A couple things real fast before we get started. As usual, let's do some mousekeeping. We want to thank Dean over at The Live Place, theliveplace.com, for family-friendly streams. Be sure to check out Dean. He's pretty amazing. Partner channels, we have 4 over here at Mouse Talk. One of them is this guy right here, Disney Dan. Always with me. Well, not always, but most of the time. Not even. And some of the time, we do Disney movie review. We're going to get better at it. Here on Wednesdays at 5. And from time to time, Dan will do Disney fights on Saturdays, and hopefully some other content coming in the future. We also have, of course, Steve's World, Diz Our Dream, and Pete McDevitt. You can check all of them out. Their links are in the description below. Be sure to check them out. We also want to say members, thank you to all of our members. Members, thank you for taking the extra generosity and loyalty to help this channel out. It really means a lot. And now let's say hello to everybody in the chat. I'm going to take a crack at it. Dan, I see Jeannie 52573. Hannah Waghorn is here. Hannah, one of our members. Hey, there's also Samantha Lowe, another member. Cynthia Candy Mom's here, our first member. We have Two-Tone Dearly. I love that name. 101 Dalmatians is one of the best Disney movies. We'll talk about it. Oh, look, Disney Dan is here. Also, we have Debbie Bernfeld is here. We have Matt Simba 2, one of our members. Of course, Debbie's one of our members as well. And you know what? Short but sweet. We're up to date.
There we go.
101 Dalmatians. Dan, before we get started, our 101 Dalmatians does have a sponsor. This week's sponsor is Canine Crunchies. Want a treat with not much meat? Something fresh for your best pet. Try Canine Crunchies. Now available at your local supermarket or at Al's Toy Barn.
I kid you not. After this movie, I literally had the Canine Crunchy in my head. Like,
I kind of messed that up. I wrote that up. We'll do it again. Canine Crunchies, this week's sponsor. Want a treat with not much meat? Something fresh for your best pet. Try Canine Crunchies, now available at your local supermarket and Al's Toy Barn.
You know how every stream we start off with the good of all Cree? This is going to be our sponsor. So every week we got to do our sponsor. And then only people who watch this stream will understand this inside joke.
Yeah, or we need a new one every week, something that's related to the movies. Oh, that'd be funny. Anyway, Nikel Francis, welcome in. Good to have you here. Lampwick Lounge is here as well. And I think we're up to date. All right, Dan, well, let's get into this now.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about 1961, the one and only 101 Dalmatians. It's a 1 hour and 19-minute movie.
It's really short. And
it is.
Bearing in mind, guys, that we are no shy of talking about films about dogs on this show, Disney Movie Review. We've done Homeward Bound, which was like our 3rd review.
Right.
This is now our 54th review. And we also did a stream on The Shaggy Dog from 1956, I believe. Mm-hmm. So we love our dog movies, and we love talking about that. But this is like the OG dog Disney movie. Like,
right,
this is... Everyone knows of 101 Dalmatians based around the book. And when, we came about talking about this one, there's a lot to talk about. It's a very short movie, 117 minutes, did you say?
An hour and 19.
19
so 79 minutes.
It's short.
It is. J&N Travel, welcome in. I got to say hi to them. Stevie Lee is here. Mark Langenkamp, one of our members. We also have Will Lovins is here. And Dennis Algazi. Haven't seen Dennis in a
Hey,
while.
Dennis.
Dennis. Two Tone says Disney needs to do more with the Dalmatians and less of Cruella. I don't disagree with that. I understand. Dennis says, hello, Walt and Dan, and all the Ohana here. I'll be listening from the Featherball. If you'd like to read the original novel, 101 Dalmatians book, let me know. Oh, there you go. Look at that. That's kind of interesting. I think we're up to date. Well, let me touch on a couple things. Like you said, dogs. We love dogs. We've done dog movies. I agree 100%. The budget on this movie was $3.6 million. Now, it has been re-released in theaters from time to time. It now has over $215 million in box office.
The inflation has really carried it.
Yes, it's made its money back.
A little bit.
I agree 100%. All right, Daniel.
But it is very popular. It's a very, very popular franchise. And I think the reason why this film is so popular is because, and what Walt really loves, if you know Walt very well, is a good villain. And I think this villain in this film not only carries the movie, but has had a huge presence in the parks and in other entertainment as well, and having her own spin-off movie that was released last year or the year before. Like, they have built so much from this movie, which may be considered maybe one of Disney's underrated movies.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what I'll say about that. I think they've done more with the character of Cruella than they have the movie.
Yes,
that's how I see it. Craig's Robotics, welcome in. Gotta say hi to them. Mr. Fulton Moran, welcome in as well. He's here. Let's see here.
Stacey Bailey as well.
Yeah, who did I miss?
Stacey Bailey, welcome.
Oh, Stacey. Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. Yes, Stacey's here. Good to see her. I think I agree with you. I think there's a lot of Cruella throughout the parks, no, but not so much 101 Dalmatians.
No,
but the character is very, very popular for sure. Her character is. I mean, she's in the Booty U parade. She's all around the parks for sure.
She just walks around the park like she's
special events too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tons of special events do we see her at for sure. Bridget Langford, welcome in. I got to say hi to Bridget and Bailey Zolkowski. I think that's how you say that. Samantha Lowe is here. What does Bridget say? Hey, y'all, popping in from Poland this week. Wow. I am teaching English here, and the students love Disney movies. Do you know 101 Dalmatians was translated to Poland? I didn't know that. Did you know that, Dan?
I did not know that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Very interesting. There's this wonderful person in the chat called Melissa Mouse Talk. I think she's here in the chat.
Somebody block her.
No, don't actually.
No, don't. I'm just kidding. Anyway, Dan, let's get right into this movie. Yeah. So, again, very quick movie. It starts off with some narration. You hear somebody talking about, I think they're in London or very close to London.
They are in London. They are in Regent's Park, which is about 30 minutes from my house, from where I am now. And what's great is that the film that it's set is literally the area that I live in. Like, I live in northwest London. I know where it's like, oh, we need to go here, we need to go there. I'm like, I know where that is. I've been there.
All right, that's kind of cool. That's neat. That's cool. Jason Thibodeau, welcome in. But we hear this person speaking. Well, we hear a voice speaking and talking about being a bachelor, living the bachelor life, and actually kind of being bored with being a bachelor. And then we talk about it, and we come in and we find out that there's this guy who is he composes music.
Composer, yeah.
And he has a dog, Pongo. That's the name of the dog. Well, what we don't realize is the narration that we're hearing, the person talking, is actually the dog, and he considers the human his pet. Yeah. Which I thought was a neat little take on, for back then, switching things around the way they did.
Yeah. I love how they've introduced almost the world of dogs and humans in this movie. If you look at every single dog and human, they all are personified with each other. They all act the same. They all walk the same. They all look the same. So the dog really represents their human, and it's great when he was watching all the dogs walk by. Yeah, and you see the poodle with all the it looks like a fluffy, and then you got the woman like with fur and all that.
Right,
it's brilliant. It's a really well crafted scene, actually.
I agree. Richard, the legend, R. Johns is here. Al V, my man, is also here. What's up, Al? Good to see you. I think we're up to date. Let's get into this a little bit. Yeah, so they're there. They're talking about pets, and of course, Pongo is talking about being bored. He's a bachelor, and he's talking about how his human needs somebody. He feels like it's time. They need somebody.
This place is a wreck.
Yeah, because his place is a wreck. He's bored. He thinks we need somebody. And like Dan said, so the dog starts looking out the window at prospects for both him and his human pet. So he starts looking, like Dan said, you see the one going down with the pug, or the one going down with the poodle, or the one going down with the, I don't even know, that really long. It was really funny because it's the truth. Humans, when we pick our pets, a lot of time we do pick pets that are very similar to us in certain ways. So I agree with you. I thought that part was really hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look who's here. Sai's here. Sai. What's up, Sai? Good to see you. But so as Pongo is there, he's looking, nope, not them. Nope, not them. Then he finally sees another Dalmatian going down the street. And of course, the Dalmatian is being walked by, I don't remember her name, Mary. I can't remember. I'm going to say Mary. It sounds like a name back then.
Let me go back on my list. Anita.
Right.
Lisa Davis.
I think she needs a better name. Get it? Anita better name.
Oh, jeez. There we go. First.
He says, there they are. That's the one. But the human, he won't go out. He won't go out. So the dog forces him to go out. And I really like that part too. They go to the park. She's sitting on the bench at the park with Perdita. Pongo and his owner is by the water. He's trying to find a way to get the two of them to meet. They finally do, which is really cool. They hit it off. And then, of course, we go into the future a little bit. They are now married, and they live together. I kind of like that beginning scene there, how they're not already together, and Perdita and Pongo are not already together. They kind of meet, and I like the way they did that.
Yeah, I think it's a great introduction to how the family is brought together, how the dogs find each other. I really love the comedic aspect of it, of Pongo being the instigator, trying to get
I agree.
Roger to get near to Anita. It's brilliant. It's really, really well done.
Yeah, I agree. I just thought they did a really good job. And they showed them at the wedding, getting married, and now they're living together. And he's a struggling composer of music. He doesn't, they make ends meet, they get by, and they have the two dogs, and they're married. And that's when we first get our first glimpse of the villain. Now, what I didn't know until I've watched it several times since, but I had forgotten that actually Cruella was a college friend of the wife of Anita. They were college buddies. They were in college together, and I forgot that. So this is the first time we actually get to meet Cruella, who comes to the house. I'll let you tell them a little bit about what happens when she comes to the house and her whole persona.
So I was just reading the comment there from North London. I wonder if Dan knows the band called Mermillion. I don't know the band Mermillion. Sorry. So Cruella slams open the door, barging the maid out the way, and she's just really sort of quite needy. She's like, where are they? Where are the puppies? And Anita's like, oh, they haven't arrived yet. It's going to be another 3 weeks, blah, blah. And she's like, there's something not right. Cruella wants these puppies. We don't know for what reason. All we get is that intrigue, that sort of need to see the puppies, to have these puppies. And she's like, oh, I'll be back in 3 weeks, blah, 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 blah. And she, goes off, slams the door. Very aggressive nature, but also quite sort of, I don't know. She's friendly in a horrible way.
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching this for the first time and you don't know anything about these characters, which I think is an impossibility, but if you were, you would take her as being obnoxious, but not necessarily a villain yet. There's been plenty of people that have had that obnoxious friends that comes in. I know some. Just barges in and makes himself at home, but they're really not bad people. We haven't gotten that yet from Cruella. She's obnoxious and a little bit overbearing, but we haven't really seen the villain side yet. If I were new to this whole thing, That's probably where I would be. Sai says, who actually knows someone with 101 Dalmatians? Asking for a friend. The friend being me. I don't know of anybody. I don't know. The only one I know that even has a Dalmatian is Paging Mr. Morrow, Nate.
That's true.
That's the only one I know that even has a Dalmatian.
Yeah.
But so you're right. 3 weeks later, the puppies are born.
I love that. By the way, I love this scene. I love how Roger is just in the chair. He's chain smoking out of his pipe, and Pongo's just like, oh no, oh
right,
no, and it's kind of like that sort of. I love the ticket. Like sometimes within, and this is what I think is a big failure of animation movies today. Animation doesn't take its time anymore. Like in modern day, you would not have a scene of two characters sitting in a room looking nervous with a ticking clock for 30 seconds. You wouldn't see that in modern day animation.
Right.
And I think that little scene is brilliant because I feel like anybody who's gone through sort of that experience, bear in mind I haven't, but I could probably imagine it, can relate to it. And I think it's a really simple but fantastic scene.
Well, it gets the point across. It's just like anybody else. It's just like back in those days when the dads would be in the waiting rooms while the moms were in having the babies. It's not quite that way nowadays. Dads can go in, but that's how it used to be. That's the way it used to be done. So I think that's the point they were trying to make. You're right. And they did a really good job of bringing that across. But then she has her babies, and she has not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 10, but 15 puppies. Now, this is the one scene that I thought for its time was really a forward-thinking theme. Of the 15, one of them doesn't make it at first. And they actually brought that in, and they're like, oh, this one didn't make it. And they hand it to the dad, and he's there. Not Pongo, but the human dad. I keep forgetting their names. I know it's Anita, and what's his name?
Roger and Pongo.
No, what's the human's name? The dad. Roger and Anita. So they hand the puppy to Roger. The puppy's passed, but he starts rubbing it. It's animation in the 60s. And it actually is still alive, which is great. But they could have took that and they could have gone that way, but they didn't. But they gave us that moment of, oh my gosh, she's going to lose one.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting.
It is interesting and maybe a bit of a dark turn. I think there are sort of hints of sort of a more mature sort of aspect of this film. That people don't really realize, maybe watching it again. But yeah, I think it was certainly interesting. But they ended up having 15 puppies because he managed to, do a little sort of maybe belly rub. I don't know what it was. And the little puppy comes out of the blanket and it's really adorable. And everyone's really, really happy. And then Cruella walks in. It almost reminded me of like a Dracula scene when she just turns up out of nowhere with the lightning and
right, exactly. Well,
knowing that she's a villain, like the whole setting of thunder and lightning and rain and her standing in the hallway, like it's very ominous.
Right. Well, I like this part because she shows up. It's 3 weeks later. She's there for the puppies. She's there. You think maybe at first, oh, she's there to see the puppies. No. And she shows up and she's like, oh, the 15 puppies, I'll take all of them. I'll take them off your hands. And they're like, well, they're not really for sale. And she's like, well, you guys need money. You're barely making ends meet. I will take them off of you. Name your price, blah, 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 blah. And then she gets a look at them and she's not very happy because they don't have their spots yet, if I'm not mistaken.
They don't have spots. They don't have their spots.
Right. They're born. They haven't had their spots yet. So they have to wait several weeks for the spots. And then she comes back again. Well, no, she doesn't come back again, but it's been several weeks. But she's really upset because she wants them with the spots, and we'll get into why later. But Anita's like, nope, they don't have spots when they're first born. It takes several weeks for the spots to develop. And she's like, fine, and she's all mad and she's upset and she slams the door and leaves. I like that scene because now we're starting to see some sort of reasoning why she wants these puppies. And when she doesn't get her way, we start to see the real side of Cruella de Vil.
So it's been a couple of weeks and we get introduced to some of the little puppy Dalmatians. So we get introduced to Lucky and Roly and
they're cute.
Patch and all these cute little dogs. And they all were watching K9 Crunchies, this week's sponsor on our channel, by the way. So they're watching K9 Crunchy advert and they're watching some of the, a TV show about a dog and a cowboy. And they all get tired and, Perdita and Pongo tell all the kids to go to bed as they go off for a walk.
Right, with the humans.
With the humans, Roger and Anita.
Which means that the puppies are left at home with the housemaid.
And we get introduced to Harry and Marv from Home Alone.
Basically, it is Jasper and Horace. But yes, I mean, I can see the similarity.
They pretty much are Harry and Marv from Home Alone.
Right.
And bearing in mind, I'm going to say it right now.
John
hey, John. These two like psychics, villain psychics, are one of the most underrated villain psychics, I think, in Disney history.
I agree. I really like you like them, but you don't like them because you know what they're ultimately there to do. They're funny. They're the bumbling idiot help that every main villain gets. The main villain never gets help that's really, really as smart as them or even close to being as smart as them. They always are an Achilles heel, so to speak. That's what these two are.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I think the film needed a bit of a comedy aspect to it, and these two just fit so well.
They tear it up with the comedy aspect. I agree 100%.
They portray this sort of what we call Cockney accent, sort of rough and tumble, sort of kind of men from way back when, from the 60s or whenever this film was made, wherever this film was set.
Yeah, I mean, there's vehicles. It's got to be the 60s. It's got to be like real time, because even Cruella's vehicle is something that's pretty modern.
Just the whole sort of as like, good evening, Ma. Just tipping the hat and all that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And they just played it so well, and really enjoyed that area of the movie. So they actually they watch, Pongo and Perdita and Roger and Anita go off for their walk off to the park, and they notice, the house is free now, and they go knock on the door. The maid opens, like, we're here for the electricity. Oh, the gas company, trying to, they weren't convincing the maid at all. Exactly. And it's like, oh, just have a little look. Let me just have a look. And she was like, you're not coming in. And it's like, all right, out of the way. And they kind of just like,
they force them in.
They break entry.
Yeah, breaking and entering for sure.
And they look the maid up in one of the rooms upstairs. I think it might have been Roger's piano room or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And she's sort of worrying, what have they taken? The jewelry, the whatever. And she realizes that Jasper and Horace have taken the 15 puppies. Now, obviously, we know that these two work for Cruella. And I think one of the only few issues that I had with the film was that it was so obvious that it was Cruella who was behind it. Because if I was, look, Roger and Perdita are not, they're not thick adults. They're actually quite intelligent. You could easily put the people, like, which person would steal 15 puppies? What person would steal 15 puppies? Oh yeah, the one who tried to buy them off me a couple of weeks ago.
Well, let me say this though. Let me jump on that, because I get what you're saying, but I'll kind of rebuttal with this. When they find out that the puppies are lost and they're calling Scotland Yard to get help, he actually comes out and says Cruella did it. Yeah. Anita doesn't believe him because that's her friend from college. She knows she's eccentric, because she even says that. I know she's eccentric, but she's not a thief. She's trying to trust her friend. He really feels she did it. Yep. She's the thief. She's the one. Call Scotland Yard. Go get her. So, I think you're right. They're not thick-headed. They're pretty smart people. And I think deep down she probably thought that too, but didn't want to. Whereas he really definitely had, and he had it right. I mean, he had it right.
Yep, absolutely. And then obviously when Scotland Yard had no sort of interest in getting involved, all that kind of stuff. It was up
and
to
no leads, no real concrete leads, because they even talk about it. Scotland Yard hasn't come up with anything. They even talk about that for a little bit. I want to say hi to Stacy, Disney Nerd Herd as well.
Hey, Stacy.
And John Hazelton said he's never seen this movie.
You got to go back.
You got to go watch it.
Watch it.
So yeah. No, please.
So Scotland Yard aren't going to do anything. So Pongo and Perdita take it up in their own paws. I was going to say hands, but they got paws.
They take their paws into their own paws.
Exactly. And they go out and do what I call, I don't know, just shouting in the street so someone can hear me, kind of deal.
Yeah, well, I would call it a dog SOS. Basically, they're barking out into the night air across all of London, and they're kind of hoping it's kind of like a chain reaction thing. You know how you line up and you bring all the buckets through, same kind of thing. Yeah. They do it, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one, to get the word out there to all the stray pups, all the stray dogs, or even the dogs that aren't strays, to say, hey, look, our puppies have been stolen. Have you seen anything? That's their way of getting the word out there. You know, that's their APB, so to speak, in dog form. And they do it really well, actually. I like the way they did it.
Yeah.
You know, all the different dogs, whether they were dogs that were owned by rich people or just the strays on the street, they were all doing it to help to find these puppies. And I kind of like that.
And it manages to reach from
Catherine.
Regent's Park, which is central London. This call reaches all the way to Surrey. And Surrey is quite far away from London. It's not obviously up north or anything, but it's quite far. If you're a dog, it is, you know, it's not near London. It's a good maybe hour and a half away.
You say like 100 miles, less than 100 miles.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be a big journey for a dog, and they managed to find Hey, Christy. They managed to this message managed to get to this cat called Sergeant Tibbs, which I think is a fantastic name for a cat. The horse, which was a captain or something, Captain Horsey. I don't know what it is.
I thought it was
Colonel Horse.
Colonel, the other dog,
and the almost like a German Shepherd, maybe.
No, he was more like a sheepdog. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it looked more like a sheep.
Yeah. Those I thought they were great. I love them. I thought they were fantastic. I love the voices behind them. Hey, Keith BDF, welcome in. But I thought they were a lot of fun. And basically, the sheepdog or whatever he was, the Colonel, was kind of.
He's pretty old.
He is. He's old. He's kind of senile. He's a little bit. He's not quite there, but he still wants to be the Colonel. And of course, the Sergeant Tibbs is yes, sir. I'm here for you, sir. And I really like the three of them. They don't have a big part. The cat does. Sergeant Tibbs' part is pretty big. The other two are kind of lesser, but I like them. I thought they were all there, and they're close to where DeVille Cruella's got a DeVille home plantation.
Yeah. It's called Hell Hall, which doesn't sound very cheerful at all.
No, and it's not.
And so Sergeant Tibbs was sent on a mission to go check it out, scout it out, go check it out, and see what's going on. So Sergeant Tibbs makes over to this sort of country, sort of run-down mansion kind of looking place.
Big home.
It's a huge home. It's a
proper
country mansion.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he makes his way through the abandoned hallways and try to find his way through. And of course, he comes across some Dalmatians watching our sponsor of this video, Canine Crunchies,
yes.
As well as Jasper and Horace watching a show called What's My Crime, which I'm not going to lie, they should make a TV series on Disney Plus because it's pretty cool.
I thought so too. I thought that was fantastic. I loved it. And they knew the guy on the TV. Oh, look, it's such and such.
It's just like, you're going to have to come back next week. He's just like rocking his head.
And then he goes, "You can win an all expenses paid vacation." Of course, that's after you pay your debt to society.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
It really was. Actually, it's pretty funny for
Um,
time. I thought they were really, really good.
the Sergeant Tibbs comes across not only, the 15 Dalmatians that were stolen, but a load of all the other Dalmatians that had been taken. Trying to do some quick maths here. 84 Dalmatians.
Right.
Because it's 99.
On top of the 15, which brings you to how many?
99.
99.
What up, Carlos? Good to see you, brother.
In Disney World free. Hey, Carlos.
So you got 85 bought puppies.
84.
And then you've got 84. And then you had the 15 stolen puppies, which were obviously owned by Roger and Anita. And Sergeant Tibbs is like, what's going on? What's going on? And he ends up being like trying to sort of sneak his way forward. He sort of stands up next to the bottle of beer that I think Jasper was drinking out of, and then he gets caught and starts freaking out. They start attacking Sergeant Tibbs and escapes and reports back saying, hey, listen, I found the puppies. Yeah. And this message gets all the way back to Pongo and Perdita. So they made their way.
Yeah, they decide to, the humans think they run away, but they decide to go and try and save their puppies, which is really neat. And of course, they're going to do it on foot, because they can't drive yet. They don't have the licenses yet. They might get them in the next one. You never know. But anyway, so we kind of go back to the mansion, and that's when Cruella shows up. And this is the first time we actually really get the sinister side of her. She comes in and says, what are you two fools doing? Get in there and do the job I told you to do. And what she basically wants is she wants Horace and Jasper to kill all 99 of them and skin them and make their coats, make their fur into fur coats for her. She says, drown them, bash them over the head.
Bash them in the head, yeah.
Get rid of them. I mean, that's pretty violent for that time. Drown them, bash them over the head, whatever you have to do, just get it done. Yep. And that's when we finally get her real side of who she is, and she's pretty sinister for sure.
And Jasper and Horace was like, "Oh, can we just do it when the show was over?" She was like, "I want the job done tonight."
Yes, exactly, and that's because the police are still actively looking, and she's kind of at this point afraid. But anyway. Yeah, Lassie has nothing on them. I love Lassie.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, so Pongo and Perdita are on their way, and Sergeant Tibbs starts a rescue mission. And he manages to get back into Hell Hall, manages to rally up all the Dalmatians that are there, all 99 of them, and start getting them through this tiny little gap. And he was just like, single file line, get it aligned, everyone get through, because obviously they're trying to escape.
Yeah, because they're watching the TV show. Horace and Jasper are paying attention.
And then we do really get a Home Alone style sort of scene where it's the cat and the 101 Dalmatians, Jasper and Horace, are just like, trying to catch them, trying to, gain them. They're all falling over each other. They're hitting each other in the head. They're, falling down the stairs, whatever they're doing. And then Pongo and Perdita manage to, get to where they needed to be and start defending their children, their puppies, and, taking down Jasper and Horace.
Enough to let them get away. They don't take them out. Jasper and Horace will come back later. But yeah, at this point, that's kind of how the rest of the film moves forward. Is they've now gotten their puppies, and then now they got to get home, and they got to get home before Cruella, Jasper, and Horace find them to try and obviously kill them and take them out. So, and it's the middle of winter. It's snowing heavily,
which never happens in the UK, by the way. Yeah. It never snows that heavy.
Exactly. Yeah, the docs. Yeah, we know what happened to Old Yeller. We do. Can't just shoot him, Paul. Anyway. But anyway, I like this part.
We'll get to that film. We'll get to that film, by the way.
I'm sure. That's going to be a tearjerker. Anyway, So we get, the puppies, all of them. Now, this is when Perdita and Pongo find out because, okay, they've escaped for now. They're in this, I don't even know what you want to call it, like this shed or whatever, in this little barn, hiding out for the time being. And that's when Perdita and Pongo come in. They reunite with their 15 puppies, and then they look around, and there's like all these other puppies, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, where did they all come from?" And they explained it to them, and they're like, "Well, they're gonna have to come with us. We can't leave them behind."
And this was the barn that the
Hey,
Colonel,
John.
Sergeant Tibbs, and they're all in there. So the three that were helping them. And so they managed to escape out the back, and Jasper and Horace come in through the front. And I love the scene where Sergeant Tibbs is overlooking the back of the horse's head, and he's like lifting down one of the ears, like, "Fire one, fire two."
Well, he did that because Horace and Jasper found them. They found out that they were in this barn, and that obviously they're trying to get the puppies, and that's when the horse kicked both Horace and Jasper into that was a good scene. I thought that was really kind of funny. Good way of using their military background to put it into this in some capacity. I thought that
really,
was
really brilliant. But they obviously see the Dalmatians run off, and then they ended up getting into a blizzard, which again doesn't happen in the UK, by the way. And they get really, really cold. They get really slow, and they manage to find like I don't know, Irish wolfhound or something. I don't really know. And found another barn with a whole load of cows, and they have some nice warm milk, and they relax, and they just take a breather and sort of.
Yeah, it was important too. I mean, they really needed that. They were saved by. It's funny, people were talking about Lassie. That's a collie that comes and saves them.
Yes, it's collie.
And isn't Lassie a collie?
Yes.
Somebody in the chat let me know, but isn't Lassie a collie? So. Everybody was talking about Lassie in there, but a collie comes and saves them and brings them back to the barn where there's these cows, and the cows allow them to drink the milk to give them, so they don't starve and they can get warm. I did like that part of the movie with the cows and the collie.
Yep. So again, full of energy. The next morning, they make their way and they cross the sort of a back road, and obviously all the roads are full of snow, but obviously all the paw prints are walking through the snow, and they start hearing the sounds and the engine noises and the beeps from the cars of Cruella and Jasper and Horace. And Cruella's getting a little suspicious. He's getting a little bit suspicious.
Yes.
And so everyone's like, "Come on, go get across the road," and Pongo gets a branch and wipes all of the footprints from the road. But obviously he didn't have enough time, because obviously they came from one side of the road and the other. So Cruella knew which direction the puppies were going, and they were going towards this little town for the final act of this movie.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And this is the final act. So at this point, Cruella, Horace, and Jasper are in this little town looking for them. Now they're all in this warehouse building or shed or whatever, trying to find a way to get home. Well, they find out there's this, I guess, black retriever there, and he comes up and he helps them as well. And he goes, "Look, see that truck over there, that moving truck?"
Oh, it's a Labrador.
A Labrador. Yeah, it was a lab. He says, "See that truck over there? That truck's heading to London. It's heading where you're going. You need to get everybody and get in that truck before they leave. The truck's going to leave soon." So that's what they decide. They're like, "Okay, well, how are we going to get there? Because we can't get past those three." So that's when, by accident, one of the puppies goes into all the soot from the fireplace. There's a fireplace there. And instead of being a Dalmatian, they now look like a lab. And that's when they come up with the idea. Yes, good idea. Let's all get in the soot from the fireplace. And now they're all black labs. I thought that was fun.
Really funny. Like this whole scene, I felt like I was in a video game. Like getting from point A to point B in disguise, trying not to get caught or whatever it is. I think it's a brilliant sort of way to work around it, because how are you going to get past three, let's be fair, not the smartest of people? What are you going to do? You're going to disguise yourself. Dogs can't disguise themselves, you idiot. That's what Cruella said. And
kind of a running joke throughout the movie where the dumb one actually figures out what the dogs are doing, and the two smart ones say, dogs wouldn't do that, when he actually had it right the whole time.
It's
If
really
they'd have
good.
listened to him, they would have probably caught him. But that was a running gag throughout the movie. I thought that was cute too.
And they start sort of loading themselves onto the truck. Remember, they were in disguise, and they were just loading up the last couple of Dalmatians. See you, Stacey. They were just loading up the last couple of Dalmatians, and Cruella's getting really suspicious. And then a big bunch of snow lands on one of the puppies, and obviously all the soot comes off, and reveals that all these sooted Dalmatians are actually Dalmatians. Yeah. And they were like, right, we need to get this van with all the Dalmatians, because I think we actually glossed over this. We forgot to tell everybody what the reason is why Cruella wants these Dalmatians, and that's
we said for her furs.
Yeah, she wants
her
fur coat. Yeah, she wants her fur coats.
Right.
And then we get a car chase scene.
Well, what's funny about it is the guy in the moving van that's driving the truck, he doesn't know anything's going on. He's just like, she's coming up and crashing into the car and trying to stop it, and he's like, what are you doing, lady? You're driving like a maniac. He doesn't know any better. He doesn't realize she's trying to get the puppies in the back. I like that. I'm glad that that they did that, kept him kind of out of the loop with that. But yeah, you're right. And then Horace and Jasper are in their car, Cruella's in her car. They kind of try to surround the car, surround the truck to stop it, to get to the dogs. And of course, as usual, the two guys, Horace and Jasper, run into Cruella's car, and both of their cars go over the edge.
Yeah. And then actually the last line, so that last sort of bit with the villains, Cruella's like, you idiots, what are you doing? And she's like crying, and Jasper just goes, shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, he's had enough.
And this is the one thing I will say about the movie that I think they didn't do good. We don't really ever see what happened to Jasper, Horace, and Cruella. That's it. That's all you really see. They're just on the side of the road, and she's mad because the puppies got away. I mean, I guess we're supposed to automatically assume they got caught. They went to jail.
It's sort of unfinished ties.
Any finishing on there. They don't really tie it up as to what happened to them.
Which they did in the live action remake back in the 90s. They did that very well. They actually did that with Glenn Close being arrested with Jasper and Horace.
Hi, Tina.
Hey, Tina. We just hope for the worst. And then obviously the Dalmatians and Pongo, they all make it home, and Roger and Anita are like, so happy to see their puppies, but notice there's so many other puppies, and they start counting. I've got 15 over here, 32 over here, blah, blah. And then Roger's like 101, and he like nearly has a breakdown. And then he thinks of an idea, and they're going to move because he had a record hit in his Cruella de Vil song.
Yeah, which is again one of those kind of I would say it's kind of a loophole, a subplot that's had a little bit of a plot hole to it, because I assumed it was only a day or two that they were gone, but all of a sudden he's got this big hit that's now out into the world. So I'm assuming it's been at least a week or two since the dogs left, and they've been trying to get
Well, we know
back.
it's been a couple of days because they've been stopping off at some bars.
Yeah, because now all of a sudden he's got a big hit. Yeah. So
and they decide to
move
to the
money
country,
that they never thought they'd have.
And they're going to have a Dalmatian plantation. And they finish with another song, and that's it.
Ride the Teacups, welcome in. Good to see you.
But
Dalmatian Plantation is the last song they sing, and then that's it.
Can I just say, I love the music in this film. I think it's super underrated.
I agree, 100%. I agree 100%. Did I say I agree 100%?
No, you agree 101%.
101%. There you go. Oh, I didn't catch that. Anyway, guys, there you go. That's our review of 101 Dalmatians. Again, it's an hour and 17 minutes. It's a really short movie. And I got to say, if they had added 20 minutes to this, I think I would have been okay with it. I'm not saying it was too short. It's fine where it was. I think it told the story and it told it properly. But if they had added a little bit more to it, like maybe what happened to Cruella or this, that, and the other, gave us a little bit more, I wouldn't have been upset. I wouldn't have said, Oh, too much. I was fine with it in that respect.
It left you wanting more.
A little bit, yeah. I would have to agree. I would have to agree. That's kind of how I felt with it. But that being said, it was still fun. But let's
Yeah.
kind of get into that. So now, guys, we've come to that point where we're going to give our reviews. We're going to give our letter grades. Here on Disney Movie Review, we do letter grades. That's how we do it. No 4-star stuff, no 1 to 10s. We do letter grades. A+ all the way down to an F. We've done both. We both have given A+. We both have given Fs. We want you guys to give your grades. So in the chat, let us know your letter grade and why you give that letter grade. We'd love to know why you give it. I don't want to just see a B or an A or an F. Tell me why you give that B or A or an F. We're going to start with Dan. Dan's going to give his review. Dan, let us give us your review and maybe your favorite character or scene, whichever one you want to do.
Cool. So my review. Now, bearing in mind, I used to rewatch this movie on VHS all the time. I loved it. I watched it all. Apart from Peter Pan, this was like my most rewatched VHS. And I hadn't seen it for really quite a long time. So to go back and rewatch something from my childhood that I used to love was a real wonderful thing to see. And you know what? This film really holds up. The music's great. The voice acting is great. The story is great. I think this film is criminally underrated. I think it really does so much to not only build the Disney brand, but to build this sort of genre of 101 Dalmatians. Hey, look, Disney, call me up. Having a room with 101 Dalmatian puppies is a great ride to have and put in your parks. Trust me, you'll have longer waits than Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. Trust me. Just put me in a room with 101 Dalmatians. I'll be good. Look, I really enjoyed this movie. Again, the only negative really is what happened to Jasper Horace and Cruella. I can't really think of anything else. Everything else, there was suspense, there was comedy, there was, everything was really, really good for me. And I'm going to give this movie, I'm going to give it an A. I'm going to give it an A. I think it really deserves that great movie status. My favorite characters, see how I say characters, has to be Jasper and Horace. Or the guy from What's My Crime. I just love the comedy aspect of it. And my favorite scene, I liked anything with Sergeant Tibbs. I just thought he was a really, really cool character. And the sort of the ticking clock scene with Roger and Pongo waiting for the birth of their puppies. That's where I'm going to end that. But yeah, I'm gonna give it an A. Yeah.
There you go. Very good. That's awesome. Very, very good. Okay, everybody in the chat, we're going to get to you in just a second. We're going to do you guys second. I'm going to go first, get mine out of the way. But before we even do that, again, we have to remind you of our sponsor this week. This week's episode is sponsored by Canine Crunchies. If you want a treat with not much meat, something fresh for your best pet, try Canine Crunchies. They are now available at your local supermarket and Al's Toy Barn.
I've got to think of a new one next week, no matter what's the...
Anyway, all right. So for me, I really enjoyed this film. I think it's 101 Dalmatians is one that's forgotten a lot. I really do think it's forgotten. It's overlooked. A lot. Animation is old. It is. It's dated animation, but it still works for me. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the story. They didn't go too far into this. They didn't give us a 2-hour movie with a lot of unnecessary. They got right to the point. And I like that. I like the music. I like the characters. I like the story, and it was fun and made me laugh. Had me on the edge from time to time for a kid's animation movie for sure. Favorite character is probably going to have to be Sergeant Tibbs. I really enjoyed him. I thought he was funny. Favorite scene is probably the scene where Pongo's looking out the window trying to find the best match in all the different dogs in their own use. I just thought that just made me chuckle. I just thought it was funny. So for me, I'm going to give this a 1 and only. And you guys are probably going to think this is low. It gets a B. I don't like the ending with Cruella. They left that too wide open for me. Couple of plot holes here and there that I think could have made this an A, and that's why it gets a B. If it's on TV, am I going to watch it? I probably might stop and watch a little bit of it, depending upon where they are. But I'm not going to go out of my way for it. But I still think a B is a really good grade.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so now it's down to you guys. I'm going to go up here to the top where I think
Tina had the first one, so I'll go from where Tina is.
Don't go don't start yet.
Don't start yet.
We're here. Okay, there we go.
There we go. So Tina says, Tina Marie's Place, go check her out. This one gives me high anxiety and I know what's going to happen. B-. Ian B gives a B-. Great movie, but not without flaws and issues. Cynthia, hey Cynthia, B+. I just didn't like how Cruella was left open on her ending. Plus, I hate hurting puppies. Yep, me too. Disney classic, but not perfect. B+ from John from Surfbum. Ride the Teacup says 101 gets a solid B+ from me. Lots of fun, good action, but it's about killing and skinning puppies, and there's a ton of drinking and smoking throughout. My kids are 4 and 7, so I can't give it the A. That's fair enough. My chat just jumped like crazy. Hold on. Hannah Waghorn says it's a B+ for me. I really enjoyed it. Some scenes are a bit predictable, but the story was told well. Like you mentioned, parts are missing that couldn't be filled. Animation holds to this day. Nicole Francis says, I love the storyline. It was a great movie, so I give it an A+. Nice. Movie Mania Nick, I say B+. I cannot condone violence on animals, especially dogs. Yep, true. Alvi says A. Solid Disney movie that has its own tempo variations, where there are normal paced times for great dialogue and fast pace when needed. K Hours says A. Love the characters. It makes me laugh and cry. It is an emotional roller coaster. Candy Tink A-, cause it's a classic. Get enough of it. I love the scene where Cruella was driving like a madwoman chasing the dogs. Will Levin says I give it a solid B. Yes, it has dated vices, smoking, whatnot. It doesn't actually show any dog cruelty or anything kids couldn't handle 50 years ago. It's a well-balanced classic. Yeah, I like that point a lot. Well, two tunny dearly. There we go. In the original movie, Cruella didn't get much of the comeuppance, especially except for crashing into the Baddens. Live action Cruella did get trashed by the farm animals. Debbie Manfeld says, I give it an A. Everything from the animation down to the voices of the film. The storyline was on point. It would have been an A+ if they ended with what happened to Cruella and company.
Yeah.
Whew, I need a breather after that one.
Yeah, it's great. Guys, everybody in the chat, thank you so very, very much for all the different, comments. Yeah. That's what we want to see on these. We'd love to hear from you guys. Look, I think overall, we all given this thing an A or a B. It's right there because it really is good. But I think, to me, I still think it's one of those ones that's forgotten and left behind. There is no 101 Dalmatian stuff in the parks other than Cruella. Nothing else really that you see, except at one of the resorts. I think it's at Disney.
All-Star Movies.
All-Star Movies has the one section, which I think is fantastic. I'm so glad they do. And you have the giant Perdita and Pongos and 101 Dalmatians all over the place. That's the only place you're really going to see 101 Dalmatians with any sort of significance in the parks. I'm glad, though. I'm glad it's there. They have Herbie over there as well. They have Fantasia over there as well. I think it's fantastic. So,
Mighty Ducks.
Go. That's our Disney movie review. And Daniel, we've come to that time.
All right, guys, we are going to pick the next movie for next week on my channel.
Daniel's channel, and that's very important. Everybody's in here right now. Next week on Dan's channel, next Wednesday, 5 o'clock, next movie. And again, before we even get to that, Dan, before you pick, I want to say this to everybody. I'm sure if you've been here a million times, you've heard both of us say this. Watch these movies. We love when you guys come with all your information because you're so knowledgeable and you bring your own aspect to this show that we love. So please, whatever we pick, go watch it. Same with 101 Dalmatians. John Hazelton says he's never seen it. John, go watch it. We would love to hear your review on it. Okay, that's all. I just wanted to say that.
Alrighty. So whatever we pick out of the box will be on my channel next week, same time. So if you haven't, because there's a lot of new faces to me, if you haven't checked out my channel, please come check it out. I'm trying to be a bit more active on it, but we do still do our Disney movie reviews over there. So obviously you don't want to miss the next episode. Thank you, Kate, for putting my link in the chat.
Thank you.
Here we go. So what are we gonna pick for my channel? What will be
He's gonna pick like Endgame, or he's gonna pick, I don't know. He'll pick something really good. I know he does. He cheats.
Maybe not. Right, here we go. And we are watching next week. And wait, when did this movie come out? The 101 Dalmatians?
1961.
So we're only going 5 years into the future.
We're watching The Jungle Book?
We are watching The Jungle Book.
Is it really? All right. So there you go. So guys, be sure to bring your bare necessities.
I'm trying to focus. The Jungle Book.
I see it.
There we go. We are watching The Jungle Book next week.
Yes, 1960. I thought it was 1967.
67. It was the year after Walt died.
6 years later. Okay.
Not this Walt. The Walt Disney.
Yeah, it was the last thing he worked on.
It was, and we have a lot to talk about it.
Yeah. So there you go. That's next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Dan's channel. If you haven't already subscribed to his channel, please do so. Hit the bell notification. That way you won't miss it. Dan, anything else coming up on your channel? Anything else we need to know about? I know you have a big trip coming soon.
I have a big trip coming in 142 days. I'm going to somewhere called Orlando, Florida.
Never been there.
Never been there. But there's something called Disney World, and I'm going to be going there with my family and fiance. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to see a lot of friends. Going to spend lovely Christmas with my Disney family. So that's going to be good as well. So, but yeah, we've got a lovely trip coming up. I may do a stream on Saturday. I'm thinking about doing a stream on Saturday. So I don't know what it could be. Maybe a Disney Fights episode. Maybe just a hangout. Don't know. Really don't know. So we will wait and see. But obviously Jungle Book Disney movie review will still be going ahead next Wednesday. So please come back, join the channel, join sort of our community. Not just me, but everybody, because we are family, and I got all my Ohana with me. There we go. I don't know what I'm talking about. Tom
Taylor, welcome in.
Hey, Tom Taylor.
Ipswich, Suffolk.
Ipswich, Suffolk.
Very nice.
Not near me, I'm afraid, but
nice.
Good to see you. So yeah, very, very exciting. So come check it out. Please don't miss next week's episode. It's going to be a lot of fun, and look forward to seeing you all there.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be great. Guys, be sure to check out Dan's channel. He is fantastic. He is one of our partner channels. Speaking of which, let's talk about partner channels real fast. Steve's World, Disney Dan, This Our Dream, Pete McDevitt. All their links are in this description below. Please check them out. Got to say thank you to Dean over at The Live Place as well, theliveplace.com. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video if you haven't already. We'd love for you to subscribe for more of these in the future. Members, thank you to all of our members for all of your generosity and loyalty. You guys are fantastic. You are what keeps this channel running. We can't do it without you. As for us on our end, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because we didn't go live Tuesday night like we were going to. Friday, we're going to go to Epcot. Saturday night, we're going to go to Hollywood Studios. I think Saturday night. I'm not sure yet. And then Sunday morning, our usual walk in the park at Disney's Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
We are so close to 13,000, guys. We are literally less than 40 subscribers from 13,000. So if you haven't already, consider.
And I remember Walt when he had less than 800.
That's right.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. That's how long we've known each other. Yep.
We've known each other a long time.
We certainly have. And we've grown together on these. I mean, Dan was the reason why I started live streaming. And that's not a lie. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. To this day, I'll never forget it. I went on was watching, trying to find YouTube, any kind of live streams had anything to do with Disney, and Dan did a 24-hour stream at that time.
Which really wasn't 24 hours.
Oh, but that was the purpose of it. He was celebrating something. I can't remember what you're celebrating.
300 subscribers I was celebrating.
Yeah. And I went on, I watched. He was great. We had a lot of fun. I was in the chat. He was so engaging with everybody. It was a blast. And I was like, wow, I could do that, I think. We should give it a try, Melissa. And Melissa's like, hell no. Heck no, sorry. But and then the rest is history.
Did you know that I've been on YouTube for nearly 11 years?
It's been 7 for me. It's 2015 for us.
Crazy.
But for us, in all fairness, we didn't really start really getting into this until 2019. So
yeah, you guys, 2019 was like a real big year for you guys.
Yeah, that was kind of where. And
then for me, it was about 2015 because it was just before my Disney college program.
Nice. See,
so it's been a long time.
It has. All right, everybody. Well,
anyway,
we'll see this weekend on our. We'll see you next week.
We forgot our sponsor.
Oh, I got to do our sponsor one more time. Okay.
Well, and again, you did your memberships and links and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's right. One more time. Thank you to our sponsor, Canine Crunchies. If you want a treat with not much meat, something fresh for your best pet, try Canine Crunchies. They are now available at your local supermarket and Al's Toy Barn.
You know what? I'm going to put that.
And that's up to Dan to come up with that one.
I know. I need to think of a new one for next week for the jungle book.
We're going to have a new sponsor every week that has something to do.
I might have to do like a prickly pear advert or something. I don't know.
There's so many things we could do with that, but it's a 5 o'clock in the afternoon stream. I'm not even going to go there.
If that doesn't deserve a like and a subscribe, I don't know what would.
Never mind. Canine Crunchies. Yes, Hannah. Hashtag Canine Crunchies. Yes, you got it, girl. Anyway, guys, everybody have a great week. We will see you this weekend. We'll see you next Wednesday for the next Disney movie review. For the good of all three.
For the good of all three.
We'll see you all next week. Bye, gang.